I think all of us are keenly aware, right, that we are still in the midst of a pandemic, and things are rapidly changing around us in the way we go about our daily life, and in the way that um, businesses conduct their business. Right, so many businesses have had to adapt to this so-called new normal. And one of the ways they had to adapt, right, is to shift a lot of their operations online or digitally. And this is partially because of the need for social distancing, right? And the fact that it's not so easy to travel, right, overseas, let's say, to meet your business partners or to meet your potential customers. So digital, right, is the way forward for many, if not most businesses. Now, transitioning to digital, right, provides new opportunities. And one of the areas of opportunity is in terms of measurement, right? So as businesses shift more of their business online and more is transacted online, so the amount of data that's generated online also is increasing exponentially. And all this data, right, is potentially a gold mine of insights for you to use to help you further optimize your efforts, whether they be in marketing or in operations or in customer service or support. So, basically the message taking away is that there's lots of data. We need a way to efficiently manage the data. Today's topic is focused around data-driven marketing, right? So how can we harness and use the data that our marketing, or more specifically digital marketing, is generating around our website and our business. So we are aware of the I already spoken through, right, the changes in our behavior. More of us are taking meetings at home, working from home, and alongside this, right, there's been a boom in e-commerce. Right, so even before the pandemic hit, right, e-commerce was really on the rise in Singapore and throughout the world. So here are some reasons why, right, e-commerce was really booming even before the pandemic. The rise of the millennial, the Gen X, Gen Y generation. Right, so in case you're not sure, and I'm often not sure which generation I'm in, I just know I'm in the older generation, right? So you can reference this chart, this helpful chart on the right here. All right, so if you are born after 1980, roughly, there, yeah, so you'll be in the millennial generation, right? So I'm safely out of the millennial generation. I'm closer to, I'll say Generation X, right, on this table here. But in any case, yeah, the rise, right, in the spending power and of this generation, and the fact that they are very digital savvy, right, and more than happy to transact online with anything from their banking to their grocery shopping to their retail being done online. The fact that they are avid social media users, all this has helped, right, to fuel this online digital e-commerce boom. So many of the companies in Singapore today that have to kind of transform themselves because of COVID, right, have had to do so by shifting from offline retail into online e-commerce. It's the same even if you're not selling, even if you're not literally transacting online. As a business, right, you have an objective for going online. So it could be to generate inquiries or leads. It could be to provide customer support. So whatever is the reason, there's going to be lots of data being generated from your website and your operations online. So in a way, the session today starts with a question, why, right? So why is your business even going online? And then from there, we're going to ask, yeah, what are they doing online? What are you actually trying to achieve through your e-commerce website or through your website online? So starting with why is a good point of reference, right? In the first place, and from there, we can transition into the what and the how, right? So in this case, The why for this awesome company INC, right, is they want to focus on their online marketing in order to generate more sales and leads for their business. How are they going to do it? So for sales, right, they're going to focus on e-commerce, selling through e-commerce. And for generation of leads, right, they're going to focus on providing ebooks and other white papers as downloads from the website. Okay, so this is how they're going to do it. This is really their marketing. And based on their execution of the marketing, you have these KPIs down here. So this is how they are going to measure their effectiveness of what they're doing online. Right, so for their e-commerce, they're going to measure number of sales, average order value as a key performance indicator. And for their lead generation business, they're going to measure the number of times their white paper or the ebooks we downloaded, number of support chats which are started, number of newsletter subscribers, and number of free samples, right, that have been ordered from their business. So all this data is available online because this is a digital business that we're talking about. And they can pull it from a platform such as Google Analytics. So what is Google Analytics? That's what I'm going to talk about now, together with Tag Manager and Data Studio. This is a very typical process flow for marketers, for many businesses, right? So marketers will run campaigns with the objective of reaching out or engaging their potential customers, right? So if you look at this diagram, the leftmost side here, you'll be running one or too many campaigns. And in Singapore, right, you could be running a Facebook social media campaign. You could be running a Google search campaign. You could be running a YouTube video advertising campaign, right? So whatever the campaign, the objective, right, is to put your product or service in front of the right customer at the right time, and at the right moment as well, when the customer is actively, ideally actively researching or ready to purchase a product. So based on your digital marketing, the customer will engage with your ads and then visit the website. So once the customer clicks right through on your advertising and visits your site, then Google Analytics takes over. Right? So the middle section here, the blue section, refers to the section that is taken care of by a measurement platform such as Google Analytics. So Google Analytics lets you understand the traffic as well as your customers in greater detail, right? So how does it do that? It gives you answers to questions such as, did the customer bounce? That means, did the customer visit my site and then leave straight away without doing anything else beyond just visiting my site? So this is the equivalent of having someone come to your house, right? So they knock on the door, say hello, and then before they even do anything else, before they step into your house, they turn around and walk away already. Right? So not very engaging, right? If you're such a friend or visitor. So that's what a bounce is, right? They come to your website, they land on the website, but straight away, before doing anything, they turn around and they leave. It can tell you where the traffic is from or where the customer is from, right? Which country they're from, which marketing campaign they click on, what kind of browsers they're using, what language is their preference. So a lot of things a lot of information is available on this customer, right, inside Google Analytics. So you don't just know the customer's demographics. You also know a bit about his behavior, right? So how long did they spend on the website? What were they looking at? What products or services or information pages were they looking at? How did they interact with the website, right? So did they use your chat widget? Did they download your PDF files? Did they sign up for newsletters? And then ultimately, most importantly, right, did they actually purchase something, right? So conversions is the last section here in green. So your Google Analytics or similar platform will be able to tell you when a customer has converted or he has done what you're expecting them to do on the website. Not all businesses, right, will be selling online. That's fine, right? So the conversion action is specific to your business. So if you are B2B and you don't sell online, you generate inquiries, then your conversion will be a new customer inquiry. If you are a B2C, that you might be selling online, so that's a conversion is a new sale, or you might just be again generating the inquiry. So contact form fill up is a common conversion for a B2C that is not doing e-commerce. If you're not doing any kind of commerce activity, right, you're just measuring maybe engagement with your website, then that's fine, right? So you can use bounce rate as a conversion indicator, right? Or you could use engagement rate, how much time they spend, how many pages they view on average per session as a proxy for a conversion. The only important thing is that you do need to set up at least one or more conversion actions or conversion goals so that you can evaluate the effectiveness of your original marketing, your digital marketing. So this is the kind of the process flow for a typical marketing campaign. You'll find that this flow applies no matter what channel you're using, right? So if you're running a Facebook lead generation campaign, you start here, right? You show the customer your ad on Facebook, and then when they click through to learn more about your product or service, they'll land on the website, and then analytics will take over, and then hopefully your site manages convert them. If you're running a YouTube video campaign, same thing. Only things that the customer will be browsing videos on YouTube, and then they will see your video ad pop up, right? So I think many of us are watching YouTube, Netflix, and other video sites, and if you're watching those sites, you no doubt, well, not for Netflix, but if you're on YouTube, you no doubt has seen one too many ads, right? One too many, yeah, and one too many ads as well. So those ads, right, are placed by advertisers, and of course, there's also a branding effect for you to see, you know, to kind of be aware of the brand. But there's also a click-through effect. You can actually click on those ads and land on the landing pages, right? And then the advertiser will hope that you then sign up for the offer. So this takes me to the behind the scenes look, right? So what happens behind the scenes in order for you to be able to run these marketing campaigns, measure, set up measurement, and then measure conversion and sales. So that's where the Google platform comes into play, right? So you have, let me start from the top left here, right? So you have here Google Tag Manager, right? And you can relate this to this diagram here. Okay, so Google Tag Manager, right, is the platform that lets you insert marketing tags on your website or in your mobile app. And the purpose of this, right, is to capture information on every single visitor who visits your website or your mobile app, right? So Google Tag Manager is a platform, right, that sits between your website and between the measurement platforms such as Google Analytics. Okay, so I know it can seem a bit confusing. Hopefully with the diagram here and also with a live walkthrough right after this, things will become clearer, right? So right now, right, just visually need you to understand, let's say you're looking at a website such as this. So Google Tag Manager, right, is working behind the scenes. So Google Tag Manager is already installed in this website, but it is in the background. So you can't see it when you visit the site. So it's working quietly in the background. And what is it doing? It's capturing information on me and every other visitor who's on the site, right? So it captures information as I click and navigate through the site. It captures information as I complete a conversion action, right? So let's say if I complete this contact form, the Tag Manager will capture information on my activity and then send that information into Google Analytics. Okay, so you see Tag Manager is a bit like a mailbox, right? It captures all the mail and then it sends the mail on to the post office. So the post office is in this case like Google Analytics, right, where the mail will be sorted and then it will be made sense of, right? So Google Analytics is then the platform. So Google Analytics looks like this. It's then the platform, right, to sort through all the data that's captured from the website and to assemble the data into meaningful charts and graphs and widgets so that you can arrive at meaningful insights to help you manage your business. So I hope it's clear so far, right? So Tag Manager is just a messenger, and then Analytics is the platform that captures and then produces reports on the data. So then what is Data Studio? Why is there a separate third component called Data Studio? So Data Studio is somewhat similar to Google Analytics in that it is another reporting platform. But the difference between Data Studio and Google Analytics is that Data Studio is a pure reporting platform. And by that, I mean its sole purpose is in producing dashboards and reports. Google Analytics, right, is a very specific platform for measuring and reporting on behavior from websites. So Google Analytics, right, is one of many platforms that can connect to Data Studio to produce more sophisticated dashboards and reports. Data Studio looks like this. Right, so it's basically a long list of different kinds of dashboards that you can generate. And the thing is that the data for these dashboards, right, can come from Google Analytics, but it's not limited to just Google Analytics. So you could have data coming in from several different sources and then combined together, right, into one very nice dashboard. So if you look at it again, right, Data Studio, right, is in a way a reporting aggregator. It sits one level above Google Analytics. So you might have data from Google Analytics, you might have data from Facebook advertising, you might have data from Google AdWords or Google Ads advertising. All of that, right, can feed into Data Studio and then produce a combined measurement dashboard. And the dashboard, I'm showing you just a single tab, right? So the dashboard can contain multiple tabs, right? So each one reporting on a different aspect of your business. And totally customizable, right? And very user-friendly. You can download reports, you can schedule reports to be generated automatically on a weekly, monthly basis. Right? So these are some of the key features in Data Studio. And of course, the fact that it is a free platform, it also makes it very attractive to companies and to agencies for them to produce their monthly performance reports. So back to this diagram, I hope again that it's a bit clearer, right, on the distinction between Tag Manager, which is just a messenger and a collection system, Google Analytics, which is specifically a web analytics or digital analytics platform, and Data Studio, which is essentially a reporting, dashboard and reporting platform that's not tied to any one data source. I'll just pause for a second to see if there's any questions at this point in time. So let's check. Does anyone have a question? Okay, I have a question. How do I get to my questions? Chat. Yeah, okay. Okay, no questions yet. That's fine. Yeah, so like I said, feel free to type in chat if something is not clear, and I can go through it again. So now we have a conceptual introduction to the platform. What I'd like to do is to actually take you live, right, through the platforms, highlight to you the key features and point you the way to get started. Let's say if you're going to do this on your own for your business. Okay, so the important thing is at the end of the day, after you set up these marketing platforms, you need to use it, right, to measure across all your marketing campaigns and marketing efforts. So that means, right, typically you need to do what we call campaign tagging, right? So you need to campaign tag so that you can understand where your traffic's coming from. Right? Is it coming from email marketing, my SEO, my social media marketing, my display or my YouTube ads, and so on. Just check. Yeah, just checking that no one's stuck in the waiting room. Okay, it's good. Okay, so so tag all your campaigns, and then you can start producing your performance reports, right? So the performance reports, for you to structure an effective performance report, go back to your measurement first principles, right? So what was the original why, the reason for you going online through your website, right? So perhaps it's just to generate more sales, right, through e-commerce, and then break it down into your specific marketing tactics or activities, right? So for each of those activities or tactics, you have your KPIs. So that on this diagram, that will be indicator 1, indicator 2, indicator 3, right? So what you see here is visually how the reports will be generated from Google Analytics or Data Studio, right? So that you can have reports, right, that let you tie back your performance against your original business objectives. And then the fun part starts. So you start pulling the data, look at the results, benchmark and baseline yourself internally as well as against your competitors and the industry, and then see what you can do, right, to improve the week-on-week, month-on-month performance of your campaigns across all channels. I'd like to now walk through with a few exercises, these key platforms. So let's start with Tag Manager. Why? Because if you look at the diagram, Tag Manager is the very first thing you need to install in order that you can start to collect data from your website, right? And then push that data into Google Analytics. So Tag Manager, when you've logged into Tag Manager, this is the interface that you see. It looks like this. The important thing on the left-hand side here is there's on the menu, you can see the word tags. Okay, and this is really the heart of Tag Manager, right? So like the name implies, Tag Manager. The purpose of Tag Manager is to manage one-to-many tags. So now the question would be, what is a tag? So a tag is basically a snippet of code that you will inject into your website that enables you to perform that specific measurement function. So for Google Analytics, right, you will have its own tag, right? So there'll be one tag for Google Analytics that lets you capture all the data, right, the behavior and the activities of whoever is browsing your website. This site here is running Tag Manager, sending the data to Google Analytics. Tag Manager has got a very powerful feature called debugging and preview. I'm going to turn on that feature right now so that you can see how we normally troubleshoot and review our Tag Manager setup. Okay, so there's a button on the Tag Manager interface called Preview. I'm going to click on that button. So what this means is that this Tag Manager is now in preview and troubleshooting or debugging mode. Okay, that's still loading. You need to make sure that the page is fully loaded. Yep. So if you look at the orange section, it's saying you're now in preview mode. So now if I switch back to my website and I refresh this page, okay, it may be a bit small, right? But there is a difference now. I'm not sure if anyone can spot the difference. The bottom half of the page, right, has been converted into the preview window for Tag Manager. Right? So you can see the Tag Manager logo, and you can see one-to-many boxes appearing, right? So each of these boxes here is a tag, right? So you're going to have one tag, right, to support Google Analytics, and that is this one here called Universal Analytics. But you see, that's the power of Tag Manager. You can also install additional measurement platforms or marketing platforms using Tag Manager. So in this case, I have another tag called Yandex Metrica. So this is a platform that does heat map tracking, tracking. So I can see visually how users are clicking through on the website. You see there's another box called support chat. So let's say your website, right, has a chat bot or a chat box that lets you chat in real time with your visitors. So normally how you implement those features is through a small snippet of code, right? So a few lines of coding. So Tag Manager is powerful, right? So I can just create a new tag. I'll just show you how this tag looks like, the one for my support chat. Right, so I can just create a new tag called support chat. And literally, right, inside this tag, I copy and paste the code that's provided to me by my vendor. So in this case, the vendor will be my my chat widget vendor, right? The one's providing the chat functionality on the website. So just paste the coding into this tag, publish the tag live, and when you next refresh your website, right, the new marketing functionality will go live on the website. So that's how you can implement advanced features like a newsletter subscription box, a chat box, a WhatsApp contact button, right? All these little marketing widgets and platforms can be implemented using Tag Manager. The advantage, right, is that you don't have to contact your IT, right? So everything can be done from this interface here. I don't have to get my IT involved. I don't have to change any of the coding in the website itself. I just have to configure Tag Manager. So that's the reason why Tag Manager is a preferred way to implement Google Analytics, because it is a very efficient way and it lets you enhance your Google Analytics in future by setting up additional advanced tags without you having to go back to your development team to make the necessary changes to your website. So once you have Tag Manager set up, I know that Tag Manager, there might be a lot of question marks in your mind still. And yes, because Tag Manager, right, is a more technical platform. I'll say it's one of the most technical platforms that marketers probably come in contact with, digital marketers. So what some marketers do is they are willing to get their hands dirty, really understand, right, start playing around, using the features and understanding how Tag Manager works under the hood. For some other marketers, they are not so comfortable or they don't have the time to do this. So they outsource, right, the management of Tag Manager to an agency or to some other internal team. So that's also another viable approach. And that's why Tag Manager is actually a powerful platform. So on a simple level, right, it's easy to implement the basic tags, but there's a lot of ways you can extend and enhance your tag implementation. So for that, you will need a bit more technical knowledge. I will point you towards the end of this session to where you can dive deeper to get yourself more experience in using these platforms. Okay, so so that's Tag Manager. And once you have the tags implemented, Google Analytics, right, is really receiving data. I can start to log in and I can start to look at data in Google Analytics, right? So here I'm looking at live real data for a website called the Google Merchandise Store. This is a store selling, okay, let me show you the store visually. It's be easier for you to picture it. Okay, so it's literally website called shop.googlemerchandisestore.com. And you can pick up random Google branded souvenirs ranging from a cup to a mug to a t-shirt, right? So any sales, right, which are generated through this store are reported on in the reports down here, right? So I can show you the e-commerce conversion funnel. Right, so okay, it's a bit slow. It's a lunchtime crowd using Wi-Fi. So this is the funnel for this store for the past 7 days, right? So there was 3,005 add to cart actions, right? So in other words, 3,005 products were added to cart. Out of that, 720 visitors went on to the second step to enter their billing and shipping details. Out of those, 370 went on to the payment screen where they're asked to enter their credit card details. And then 45 went on to the final review. And then out of that, only 29 people completed the purchase. And so you see, this is the e-commerce funnel, right? And all this data is captured automatically using Google Analytics. I can also dive into the e-commerce performance, right? So I can open up the e-commerce section. Okay, I can look at product sales performance. So based on that funnel, these are the actual products which are being sold, right? So those, was it 47 products are made up of this product SKUs, right? So t-shirts, raincoat, and so on, right? And you have the product price, quantity, right? And lots of other details. So this is one of the benefits, right, using Google Analytics. If you're running e-commerce, you get pretty detailed information on what's working and what's not working for your marketing campaigns. And you can ask and answer many different questions in Google Analytics, right? So the questions can range from demographic kind of questions, like what age group brought in the highest number of users to my store? What percentage of sessions, right, are coming in from people who are using a mobile device? Because I want to know how well mobile converts. Well, I want to know firstly, what proportion of users prefer to use mobile? And secondly, how well mobile converts. Does it still convert as well as, say, desktop or tablet traffic? You can find out who are your top referrers, right? So if your business works a lot with social media, with influencers and other third-party sites, right, who are your top referrers to your site and how well are they converting into sales? You can find out how many specifically, right, for marketing, a specific marketing campaign, how much traffic and sales were brought in by this campaign. Which of your products or services, right, is most interesting to your customers, right? So which of these pages has the most page views? What is the conversion rate for your business, right? So for Singapore e-commerce businesses, right, the typical conversion rate could be anything from 1% or even below 1%, right, all the way up to over 10% for certain industries. So what is your conversion rate and how does it compare to other competitors within your industry, right? So the conversion rate is one of the key performance indicators available throughout all the Google Analytics reports. I'm just switching to my Google Analytics. Yeah, right. So if you scroll, so if I look at a report such as the marketing campaign report, okay, all traffic. Well, let me look at the channels report. It shows me all the different marketing channels that I'm getting my traffic from. So you have the channel on the left-hand side. Then you have what we call ABC metrics, right? So A stands for acquisition, B stands for behavior, and then C is where I can find my conversion rate, right? So C is the conversion data. And one of the columns is e-commerce conversion rate. So currently the site is not doing too well, I'll say, right? So the e-commerce conversion rate is down to 0.16%, right? So less than 1 in 100 people to the store will purchase, which is really low, right? If you think about it. So, so what is your conversion rate for your business? How can you improve the conversion rate? So these are some of the questions do you ask? And then we will dive deeper into the data to try and get answers to that. You can also perform what we call advanced segmentational analysis, right? And for that, you can apply very specific segments. For example, you know that your business, right, kind of caters to females, predominantly females, and working adult females, right? So those between 25 to 44 years old. So you can create what we call an advanced segment, just zooming in on females aged 25 to 44 and seeing how they convert compared to the site average. I'll just quickly show you this feature because I think it's very powerful, right? And it can be easily configured. So I'm looking at the merchandise store data. I can create a new advanced segment by clicking on this button at the top here, add segment, and new segment. Okay. Okay, so this is what we call a segment builder. It's somewhat like a filtering system, right? So you apply a series of filters against your data, and that will, what is left after you filter out the data, right, is literally the segment that you are interested to zoom in on. So I mentioned that I want to examine the behavior of females age 25 to 44 years old. So literally apply the filter, right? So there's a filter on gender. So I'll choose females. So if you look carefully, right, as I apply the filter, the audience size will narrow down. So it was 100% before on the right here on the summary. Now it's down to 19%. Right? So 90% of the 100% audience are females. Next one is only those aged 25 to 44 years old. Okay, so 25 all the way up to 44 years old. Right, so now from about 19% is down to 10% of the audience. Right, so that kind of makes sense, yeah. So as I apply more filters, right, the audience size will also reduce. So I'm happy with this filter, so I'm going to save it. And now you can see, right, I'm comparing females 25 to 44, and let me pull in the second segment against the site average, which is all users. Okay, so I'm going to apply. All right, so for this website, in terms of conversion rates, right, females 25 to 44 years old, the site-wide e-commerce conversion rate is 0.05%. Average conversion rate is 0.16%. So it's quite clear, right, that females, for this particular site, females are not converting very well or not as well as the other audience segments, right? So then from here, you can ask the question, why, right? So then you can do further segmentation. Is it based on the kinds of products they're looking at? Is it based on the fact of whether they're using mobile or not a mobile device? Is it because of the original campaign that they click in on? Right? So all of these are possible segments that you can further slice and dice into to try to understand why this audience is converting or not converting. Right? So you see, advanced segments are very powerful because they let you ask questions, and then you can create a segment, right, that gives you the answer in terms of the performance data. And then from there, you can do further analysis to try to understand the correlation of the trends, right, to the marketing that you're doing. So that's advanced segments. Let's see if there's any other. Yeah, there's a few other advanced reports, but I think in the interest of time, I won't go through every single report. Right. So you also have something called attribution and multi-channel reports. Right. In a nutshell, those reports show you how the different channels that you are using interplay or work together to produce a final sale for your business. So all those reports lie under the conversion section, and you have multi-channel. You can look my screen, multi-channel reports, and yeah, and let me just show you anyways. quite quick to load the report. So we know, right, that normally a customer does not purchase on the very first visit to our website. So this multi-channel report shows you the sequence of visits to your site before they purchase a product, right? So the most common sequence for the Google merchandise store is a direct, which means someone types their website or has bookmarked their website, direct again, and then they make the sale. Next most common is referral, right? So someone, they are clicking through from another website. It could be Facebook, it could be YouTube or some other third-party website, or it could be influencer. So they come through a referral, they don't buy then, but they visit again on a separate day or separate session, and they come in direct the second time, and then they purchase, right? So you see that's the second largest source of conversions. So knowing this, having these insights, right, can help you understand how your different marketing channels are working together. Which channels are important because they are triggered very often in the customer journey. So those are the channels that you want to pay special attention to. Which channels are not appearing at all, right? So maybe you're investing a ton of money in social media, but social media is just not referring any of the final sales. We're talking here about sales down here. These channels are all involved in making the final sale, right? So then you can adjust your budgets or your tactics or your marketing focus accordingly. So that's the multi-channel report. So I had to move on. I've covered the second platform, which is Google Analytics. It is a very powerful platform in that you have many different ways to analyze and slice and dice your data. Now moving on to the next platform, Data Studio. Right? So Data Studio, like I mentioned earlier, is somewhat like a report aggregation platform. So it's one level higher than Google Analytics. Google Analytics is a source of data for Data Studio. So let's do a live walkthrough for this as well. So this Data Studio, and let me just go back out to the overview screen. At the simplest level, right, Data Studio is a list of different dashboards that you create. Each of those dashboards, right, can have a different marketing focus and function. So you could have one dashboard for your marketing department. You could have a dashboard for your HR department, right? So reporting on the effectiveness of your jobs section of the website. You could have another dashboard for your advertising, your pay ads team. You could even have a dashboard. You could even have a dashboard for non-digital marketing activities. Data Studio, right, is agnostic to the kind of data you put into it. This could be sales data, it could be marketing data, it could be operational data, it could be business data, it could even be data that you have in a spreadsheet. You can even connect spreadsheets to Data Studio and visualize the data. So it's that flexible. So those are the reports. The second important thing, or the next important thing you need to know about Data Studio is data sources. Right, so here is listed all the different sources of data where you capture your data from for use in the reports. So if I was to click on the create button here and create a new data source, this will give you a glimpse of the flexibility of Data Studio. See, so when I want to capture data from a new data source, out of the box, there's really literally dozens of different data sources or connectors that I can use. Right, so all this means I can connect to these sources just by clicking a few buttons. I don't have to do any coding to pull in the data. Right, so there's a connector for Google Analytics, which is the one we use for Google Analytics. There's a connector for Google Ads. There's a connector for Google Sheets, which is like Excel. And there's connectors for nearly any kind of structured data that you have lying around your business. So many businesses have data stored in like a data warehouse. So then you can use a connector like BigQuery or MySQL, right? So MySQL is a structured query language. You can connect directly to your enterprise databases using these connectors. So in other words, you can connect to, given a bit of configuration and maybe the use of a premium connector, you can connect to nearly any data source under the sun and pull the data into Data Studio and start visualizing the data. So why is Data Studio so powerful? Because it is intuitive for first-time users. Some of you might have heard of other platforms such as Tableau and Power BI, right, and some other marketing dashboarding software. Those are all very, very good software, very powerful as well. But one area Data Studio shines, right, is in its simplicity, the ability for you to get up and running very quickly without having to go through a lot of training. So I can literally create a new Data Studio report by using a template, right? And Data Studio provides several templates. There are many more templates which are available for free, published by other consultants or agencies out in the World Wide Web. So let me just show you very quickly, right? So I can browse through the template gallery. And let's say I want to produce a report on the e-commerce performance of my store, right? The one which I showed you earlier, the Google Merchandise Store. So I can browse through the templates. Where was I? Here. Look for a suitable template. So I see there's really a template called Google Merchandise Store. How convenient. So this template, right, will be producing reports on the e-commerce performance of the website. So I just click on the template. Currently, it's still in view mode. I need to appropriate this template for my own use. And to do that, right, on the top right, just click on Use Template. The final step is you must map this template to your own data source, right? So this is where you will be mapping it to your own company's Google Analytics data. So in this case, let me use the demo data provided for the merchandise store. Okay, I'll use my Google Merchandise Store connector or data and copy the report or create the report. So you see in about 3 minutes, right? I've already kickstarted my e-commerce reporting dashboard. Okay, this is it's working a bit slower than normal, everyone, I must say that. So when you try it on your own, you probably find that the performance is faster than this. Blame it on my internet connection. So this, in 3 minutes, right, I kickstarted my e-commerce dashboard, and now I can continue to enhance the dashboard. So I can click on Add a Page. Okay, and that produces a new blank canvas. And I noticed that the previous page did not have a breakdown of my traffic by device, right? Mobile, desktop, and tablet. So I'm just going to very quickly do that right now. Did it add my page? No. Yeah, it did. Okay, let me navigate to my second page. Okay, so that should be my blank canvas here. And let me add in the device breakdown, right? So I'm going to insert a chart widget. So it's literally just click on this button called Add a Chart. Choose the most appropriate chart type. So I'll choose a donut, right? Which is making me hungry now. I choose a donut. And then choose the data that you're going to map this widget to. Okay, again, guys, sorry, it's really much lower than it normally is. Just bear with me. Okay, so the widget settings are now available on the right here, right? So I mentioned that I want to showcase the breakdown of traffic by device, right? So I need to switch it from reporting medium, which it currently is on, and choose device instead. Right? So device category in this case. So now I got a nice breakdown, right, between desktop, mobile, and tablet. And I can reposition, I can resize, I can recolor, I can add background images, I can add titles, text as well, right? So I can do a whole lot of styling to make this dashboard my own. And when I'm happy with the dashboard, I can either use it in a live context. So you might be presenting at your monthly exco or management meeting, right? So you can switch this report to live mode, and then you'll be able to hover over the data points and kind of drill down live to analyze the data. Or you could download the report as a PDF, right? So you click on share in the menu, and you see there's a button to download the report. So I could then download it as a very nice looking PDF file, and then attach it in the email. Or you could even have it scheduled, the PDF, right, scheduled for email delivery automatically. So on the 1st of every month, you have this dashboard emailed to you in PDF format. So then everything is done, all the basic report generation is done for you. You just have to do the analysis, right, and put in some insights before presenting this report to your team or to the management. So that's in a nutshell, right, is Data Studio. I mentioned earlier, if you wanted to dive into Tag Manager or Data Studio, how can you do so? Okay, so Google does provide a lot of good online resources. Within Data Studio itself, under the Help menu, there's a link to watch a tutorial. And here you got several video tutorials that take you through the fundamentals of Data Studio, right? So if you are using Data Studio, I would recommend starting here. If you're using Tag Manager, which is the other platform, okay, so Tag Manager, actually, let me check whether I can, yep. So Tag Manager, the question mark on the top right, brings you to the official help articles or help documents on Tag Manager. Okay, so if you are the kind who doesn't mind reading, right, then this is pretty comprehensive, the documentation here, right? So you can read through the documentation. Now, if you are more visual learner or you enjoy learning through videos, you can Google for this resource called Google Analytics Academy. Okay, Google Analytics Academy. Okay, and let's click on the first result that you get. Wow, this is really slow. Come on, you can do it. I'm going to let you break for lunch soon, my browser. So let's just get through this. Anyway, yeah, so I think I won't click through, but because I can see you need, okay, now it's, yeah, now it's going through. Now I'm nowhere here and nowhere there. Okay, let me look at questions. Okay, I hear like a buzzing sound. Sorry guys, if you hear that sound as well, I'm not sure where it's coming from. Let me just check. Can you all hear a buzzing sound or is it only me? This is the first time it's happening to me. Yeah, I hope that you don't hear the buzzing sound, it's only me. Okay, I'll continue, but let me know if you hear the buzzing sound. Wow. Okay. Yeah, but anyway, the site is loaded. So Analytics Academy provides you video learning, online learning for some of these topics, right? So for you to dive into the basics of Tag Manager, you can take the Tag Manager course. For you to dive into the basics of Data Studio, you can take the Data Studio Introduction course. For you to dive into the basics of Google Analytics, you can take the Google Analytics for Beginners course that you see here. I normally recommend you take that even for people who come for training. For example, the training that I'm going to share with you in a second. I recommend that you take the beginner and even the advanced course before you come for the training, so that you'll be more prepared and be able to move faster, right? And cover those concepts during the training. Okay, let me look at questions. I have a question. If pages are left idle or users do not log into their account while accessing the pages, does Google Analytics still track? Okay, so a very good question, right? So she's asking if someone just visits your site and then after that they don't do anything, right? They just leave the site open like that. Does Google Analytics still track or work in the background? So Google Analytics, right, is trigger driven. Trigger, right? So that means it responds to activities. So if something is left in the background like this, then there's nothing happening and no data is going to be sent to Google Analytics. So when the user next resumes the activity, for example, clicks on a different page, then the Google Analytics, right, will again trigger and resume tracking. So I hope that answers the question there. So in other words, if the page is left idle, then no data is being sent to Google Analytics. It is buzzing sound. It's let me just switch on and off my audio. Okay, hopefully the good news for you is that it's something on my end, right? So yeah, I'll just bear with it. Are there any other questions based on what I covered today? I hope that I've given you a good intro and overview of how the different platforms work together, right, to help you measure and do performance reports for your business. Let's go back to the slides while I'm waiting for more questions to come in. Right, so today's session is brought to you by AventisLearning Group, and they've been established since 2008 and conducted lots of training, right? Both for the public as well as corporate in-house training. They're award-winning corporate training provider, and we have a wide range of topics available for you to choose from. Of all those topics, I of course want to highlight one topic which I am teaching and enjoy teaching, right? So there's data-driven marketing class, right? That is coming up. It's 2 days from 27 to 28 July, full day. Because of the current situation, this course is delivered 100% online. But rest assured, right, it is engaging, hands-on training, and it's not theoretical at all, right? So you'll be walking away with practical skills that you can put to use in your organization or for your own business. It basically covers everything I've spoken about today and more, right? So it will also dive into the modules of Search Console, Google Optimise, and a few other platforms, right, which a digital marketer typically encounters as they set up a measurement-driven performance framework. So if you're interested to sign up or to learn more, feel free to contact Roshini or Aventis using the QR code or any of the information on this screen here. Let me see if there's other questions. Okay. Thanks for clarifying there's no more buzzing sound. I'm really glad to hear that. It'll be most irritating for you. Okay. How about if a user, so another question is, how about if users surf through the site without logging into their Google account? Will Google Analytics still track? Okay, so one important thing, one common question, okay, or a few common questions that I will address right now. So let's switch to the website. Wow, so many tabs, which is my Google Merchandise Store website. I think it's this one. No. Okay, I'm gonna go side by side. I think I closed it. Okay, never mind. I'll use this site. Okay, so let's say this is your website, right? And you have Google Analytics installed through Tag Manager. So one common question is, how does it work? You know, where must Google Analytics be installed when you're using Tag Manager? So the basic answer is on every single page of your site, right? So you have to install Tag Manager with Google Analytics on every single page. So if your site has got 50 pages, all 50 pages need to have the Tag Manager code and Google Analytics. 100 pages, 100 pages, and so on. Second question is, since Google Analytics is running on this site, right, can anyone view the data? Or can I view my competitors' Google Analytics data since I know they're running Google Analytics? So the answer is no, you can only view data for Google Analytics that you have access to. And you have access through a Google login, right? Similar to the Gmail Google account login. So another question then, so does Google Analytics work, right? Even if I'm not logged into my Google Analytics account? Yes, right? So even though you can only view data from your own account, as long as Google Analytics, right, is installed on the page, it will continue to work and collect data from whoever is visiting the website. So right now, this site here is Google Analytics installed. No matter who visits, right, they will trigger the Google Analytics code and the information will be sent to Google Analytics. The only question is who can view the data. So only the person who has access to the specific Google Analytics account for this website can view the data. Same for Tag Manager and Data Studio, right? Only people with access to Tag Manager can configure Tag Manager. Only people with access to Data Studio can configure reports that pull data from your Google Analytics. So I hope that answers the question. Are there any other questions? So I encourage you all to dive deeper. For some of you, maybe you're already familiar with using Google Analytics because your company has really installed it. Then for you, you could perhaps consider diving into Tag Manager because that is, like I mentioned, the recommended way for you to further enhance your Google Analytics implementation. And you can also dive into Data Studio as an enterprise level reporting platform, right, for your business. For those of you who are totally new, then you could perhaps take the beginners Google Analytics course on the Google Analytics Academy, the site which I just highlighted earlier. And if you have any other questions, you can contact me or you can contact Aventis, right, for further details. So I'll just flash my contact details out here. Okay, so you can email me or we can connect on LinkedIn, right? Or you can send your inquiry in through the nice, helpful people at Aventis. So thank you very much for spending this 1 hour, your precious lunch hour with me. I'm just going to do one final check to see if there's any questions. Okay, so since there's no questions, right? So thank you all for your time. We have a great day and I'll see you all around sometime soon. Thank you for attending today's.